Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, a big welcome to you too. You're tuned into the space where we unpack South Africa's most pressing and dramatic political events with depth, detail, and a touch of bold truth. So before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join our growing community that's always first to know when history is being made, like what we're about to discuss right now. What happened in Parliament today wasn't just another disagreement or the usual heated debate that we've come to expect from the floor. It was a full-blown political eruption that left the nation talking, shocked, and divided. Julius Malema, the fiery and unapologetically outspoken leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, was ejected from Parliament following a dramatic and intense clash with the Deputy Speaker. And when we say ejected, we mean forcefully removed, after a standoff that nearly brought the House to a complete halt. The scene was electric, tense, and incredibly symbolic of the political friction that has been brewing for months, if not years. Malema, never one to back down from confrontation, stood his ground with fiery rhetoric and characteristic defiance. His voice thundered through the chamber as he questioned, interrupted, and challenged the procedural decisions of the Deputy Speaker. The air was thick with tension. Eyes widened. Some MPs looked on in stunned silence, while others erupted into a cacophony of objections, shouts, and countershouts. It wasn't long before decorum dissolved completely into chaos. What triggered the confrontation? According to early accounts, the Deputy Speaker had ruled Malema out of order after he raised objections that were deemed disruptive. But anyone familiar with South African politics knows this was not merely about parliamentary rules. It was the collision of deep-rooted ideological divides, personal animosities, and a growing culture of protest within the legislature. Malema accused the Deputy Speaker of bias, of protecting certain political interests, and of suppressing dissenting voices. The Deputy Speaker, in turn, warned Malema repeatedly to withdraw his statements and resume order. But Malema did not budge. In fact, he doubled down, calling the Speaker's actions unconstitutional and refusing to apologize or retract a single word. And then came the order that would change the course of the day. "Honorable Malema, you are ordered to leave the House." Gasps rippled across the room. Cameras zoomed in. This was no longer just a heated exchange. It was political theater of the highest order, playing out live for the country to witness. Malema, in his signature red attire, stood tall, eyes locked with the Deputy Speaker, surrounded by a few of his fellow EFF members who rose in protest. For several minutes, there was a standoff. Security was called. The Speaker insisted on enforcement of the order. Malema refused to move. Eventually, Parliamentary Protection Services had no choice but to intervene. The footage of Malema being escorted out, defiantly shouting as he left, will likely go down in history as one of the most unforgettable images of South Africa's post-apartheid political era. It wasn't just an ejection, it was a symbol of resistance, a symbol of a deepening national tension between radical reform and institutional control. But what does this mean for South Africa? For Parliament? For the EFF? And for the millions of South Africans who look to leaders like Malema for a voice in a country still grappling with inequality, corruption, and broken promises? Already, reactions have been pouring in from across the spectrum. EFF supporters are hailing Malema's actions as heroic, praising his refusal to be silenced, and accusing Parliament of becoming a space where true opposition is crushed under the guise of order. Critics, on the other hand, argue that Malema once again disrespected the dignity of the House, and that his methods are less about political progress and more about spectacle and disruption. What's undeniable, however, is the impact. This isn't just about Julius Malema, it's about the growing tension within South Africa's democratic institutions. It's about who gets to speak, who gets heard, and what happens when the voice of the radical opposition refuses to conform. The fact that such a major incident can unfold in the very halls where policy is made speaks volumes about the urgent need for political reform, dialogue, and perhaps a new vision of leadership for a country at a crossroads. And we're not done. Not even close. Behind the scenes, Sources are telling us that this incident might spark a broader investigation into parliamentary conduct and could even lead to further disciplinary actions against other EFF members. Meanwhile, Julius Malema himself has already released a statement vowing to return louder and stronger and warning Parliament that the revolution cannot be stopped by security guards. His words are being shared like wildfire, especially among the youth, who see him as a fearless truth-teller in a system that often feels deaf to their struggles. There are also whispers that the deputy speaker might face backlash for how the situation was handled. Some MPs are reportedly concerned about the precedent this sets, about what happens when opposition leaders are removed rather than engaged. The debate is far from over, and we'll be watching every second of it. So, what's next? Will Malema's ejection spark mass protests? Will the EFF double down on its confrontational style? Or could this moment trigger a new wave of introspection within Parliament itself, forcing leaders to reimagine how debate and dissent are managed in a fragile democracy? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, South African politics just got a whole lot more interesting and more unpredictable. We'll be covering all of it right here on the channel. From exclusive interviews to on-the-ground reports and deep dive analysis, this is the place where truth lives and spin dies. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who cares deeply about the state of our nation. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you believe in fearless reporting, and leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. Was Julius Malema right to challenge the speaker? Or was this a dangerous overstep that threatens the sanctity of Parliament? Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, keep your eyes wide open. Because in South African politics, anything can happen, and often does.